Good morning to Note Fine Ma'am. Okay, today I want to present about problem-based task. Okay, me Rubini Kumaran. Okay. For BPT, we have one ability zone and two subnet. We also have two route table. Now we want to create all this in our AWS Educate. Okay. First, we must create our VPC. For VPC, we must click create VPC. After that, it will ask name and IPv4 CRDR block. Okay. After we put name and IPv4, we must click create, and then it creates successfully. After we create VPC, we must create two subnet. Okay. First subnet, public subnet, PBU VPC public, and then we must choose ability zone 1A and the IPv4 CIDR block 10.0.1.0/24 for public. And after that, subnet to PBU VPC private. Same ability zone we must use for this 1A. And for this IPv4 CIDR block 10.0.2.0/24. After we put this all, we must click create subnet. After that, we create it successfully, and then we choose PBU VPC public and go to the action, choose modify auto assign IP setting, and then click the able auto assign public IPv4 address and save. Okay. After we create the subnet, we must create the internet gateway. So for create internet gateway, we must click create internet gateway, and it will ask the name tag. So we must put PBU VPC -IGW and click create, and then it will create successfully. Okay, after we create internet gateway, we must attach it to VPC. So choose PBU VPC IGW and click action, choose attach to VPC. Okay, and then we must choose what the VPC that we create before this, and then we must click attach internet gateway. Finally, it will attach to the VPC successfully. Okay, now we must launch 3 instances. Okay, first we must launch web server. For launch instance, first we must click launch instance, and step 1, choose an Amazon machine image AMI. Choose the first Amazon Linux to AMI, and then step 2, choose an instance type. For this we must choose T2 micro, and then click next, configure instance detail. In step 3, configure instance detail. For network, we must choose the VPC we create before this. For subnet, we must put PBU VPC public because our web is placed on the public. Okay, after that, we must click next, add to store. In step 4, add store, we no need to add anything. We just click add next tag. In step 5, add tag, we must click add another tag. For key, we must put name. For value, we must put PBU VPC-web. After that, we click next, configure security group. So in configure security group, we must add 2 rules. First is SSH and HTTP. So for SSH, the source is custom. For HTTP, the source is anywhere. And then we click review and launch. In step 7, review launch, we can see what we what we choose before this. After that, we just click launch button. Okay. For after we click launch button, it will ask to select an existing key pair or create a new key pair. So we must choose create a new key pair, and the key pair name is my VPC. After we put name, we must download the key pair, and then only we must launch instance. Okay. After that, it will we will launch the instance successfully. Okay, now we want to see launch instance for database, second instance. Okay, same as first instance. We must, in step 1, we must choose the Amazon Linux 2 AMI. After that, in step 2, we must choose T2 micro and click next configure instance detail. Okay, in step 3, we must, for network, we must choose the VPC that we create before. But for network, we must take PBU VPC private, and then just click next add storage. In add storage, we no need to add anything, just click add tag. Okay. In step 5, add tag. First, we must click add another tag. The key is name, same as first instance, but the value is different, PBU VPC-DB. Okay. And then next we must click configure security group. In step 6, configure security group. Okay, the security group name we must put PBU VPC DBSG. The description also same. And then we must create for type SSH, HTTP, all ICMP, and MySQL. For SSH, only source is custom. For other 3 is source is anywhere. And then click review and launch. In step 7, we can see what we choose, and then click launch button. In launch instance, this time we must choose an existing key pair, because before this we downloaded. So we just choose that key pair and then launch instance. Okay, that also we launched that instance successfully. Now we want to see the third instance, launch instance for net. This is a different little bit from the other 2 instance. Okay. In step 1, first we must go to community AMI and search net, and then just select the first output AMZ and AMI VPC net. After select that, in step 2, we choose an instance type T2 micro, and then just click configure instance detail. In step 3, configure instance detail. Network, we must choose PBU VPC, that VPC we create before this. But for subnet, we must choose PBU VPC public, same as the first instance, and then click next add store. In step 4, add store, we no need to do anything, so just click next add tag. Okay, in step 5, add tag, we must click add another tag. For name, same as other 2 instance name. The value is PBU VPC-net, and then click next configure security group. In step 6, configure security group. Select an existing security group and choose the PBU VPC web SG that we create for our first instance, and then just click review and launch. In step 7, review and instance launch, we can see what we choose, and then click launch. Okay. In launch instance, we must choose an existing key pair, that is my VPC, and then click launch instance. And finally, we successfully create all the three instances, that is PBU, VPC web, net, and also DB. So the instance state show running, and the status check is 2/2 check passed. Okay. After that, we must choose the PBU VPC net and click action, go to network and choose change source and destination check, and then just click stop button and then save the changes. Okay. After that, we must create the route table. So we must go to the route and click, and we can see the one main PBU VPC RT1 is already created. When we create the our VPC, it automatically create the main route and also ACL. So now we want to create another route. So click the create route table. After that, we must give name first, PBU VPC RT2. For VPC, just choose the VPC that we create before this. Okay. After then, we can see we will create the two route. Okay. Now we first choose the PBU VPC RT1 and click the route, because now we want to uh, edit the route. So first click the route and click edit route. In destination, we must, before that we must click add route, and then for destination we must put 0.0.0.0/0. For target, we must choose internet gateway that we create before this, and then click save change. After we create the route, we also must add subnet association for our PBU VPC RT1. So go to subnet association and click edit subnet association, and then choose the PBU VPC public, because the RT1 is based on the public. So we must choose the public one and then click save changes. After that, we can see what we choose as the output. Okay. Same also we must do for our PBU VPC RT2. Choose PBU VPC RT2 and go to route, click create route and add route. The destination same 0.0.0.0/0. The target we must choose instance. So we create three instance, right? So just we must choose the net instance only for this, and then click save changes. Okay. After that, go to subnet associate. Click create subnet associate. This time we must choose PBU VPC private and then click save changes. Okay. Finally, we do the route and subnet association for our two route table. Okay. After that, we must go to our instance that we create three instance, right? So choose the web instance, and then you can see the IP address of web instance. Just copy the IP address, go to Google and paste it, enter to check the connectivity to SSH. But when we check it, it will out like this site cannot be reached. So now we want to create the connectivity between SSH to our web server. Okay. Before that, We must choose our PBU VPC dash web and then click action, go to connect and choose SSH client. There we can see the example SSH-I myvpc.pam EC2 user and the IP address. This command later we will use in our terminal. For give connectivity to SSH, I must install the web server. So for this, I will use terminal. So now we must use our keypair also. Before this, I download my keypair. So it automatically saved in download. Now I just give cd command and just draft it to my terminal and enter. Now I am in my download folder. Now I want to install HTTPD by use my instance web. For that first I give ssh-i myvpc.pem ec2/user and then I give the instance web IP address because first I must enter to the IP address and then only I can install the HTTPD. So for that I give sudo su command to enter the root. After that I give yum-y install HTTPD. After it complete the installation HTTPD, we must give systemctl start HTTPD command and then systemctl status HTTPD. This command we give to see the status for HTTPD. So it show active running. So I go back to the IP address and refresh it. And then now I can see the test page. So it means I successfully create the connectivity. But now I want the output like welcome to PBU and my name and metric number. So for that I must give command cd/var www/html slash. This command I give to enter to the HTML and then I give nano index.html. This command I give to edit the HTML. After I give the command, I will just write what output I want. For me, I write welcome to PBU web server and name Rubini, metric number, my metric number, and then I just save it. Okay. After that, I go back to the IP address, just refresh it. Now I can see the output welcome to PBU web server, name Rubini, metric number is my metric number. Okay. Now I want to give connectivity between the database also. So for that I give nano myvpc.pam. This command I give for edit my VPC. So before this I download my VPC in my laptop download. But now I want to create my VPC in my terminal. So that's why I give this command and I just copy my first I open my VPC and just copy what I can see in my VPC and just paste in terminal my VPC that I create. After that I just save it. For check I create it or not, I give ls command so I can see that my vpc.pm f in my folder, f in my root. Okay, after that I give chamut 400 myvpc.pam and then ssh/i myvpc.pam ec2/user and I give database IP address 10.0.2.118. For this IP address we can go back to our instance and choose the database instance and then we can see the IP address. Okay. After that command I give, it will show Amazon Linux to AMI. So it means I successfully enter to my IP address. Okay, now I just exit and try to ping that IP address. It's successful or not, but for me it's successful. Okay, after that, now I want to do configure the Route 53. So I go to Route 53 dashboard and click create hosted zone. Okay, for Route 53 we must have the domain name. So for that I create my domain name in for norm. It's a website. Okay, and then after I enter to my Route 53, I put my domain name guna.tk and I choose public hosted zone. After I create that, I can see the output name saver for. So just I copy the for name saver and go to my free norm and sign up. Choose my domain and click name manager and choose custom name saver and just paste the phone name in the name saver 1 2 3 and 4 and click save changes. It automatically saves the changes after that. And then I come back to my Route 53. I click create record. For record type I choose A and the value I put uh, web instance IP address. And then for TTL, I give 60 and I click create record. After that, I can see the output that I create guna.tk record name. The type is A, route is simple, the value is the IP address that I give. So now I just go back to the Google and I put my domain name guna.tk and just I click enter. Now I can see the output welcome to preview web server and my name and my metric number. So it means I successfully did all the commands. But after this, we must delete the records and also terminate the all instance that we create. So for that, in Route 53, first we must delete the record. After we delete the record, we also must delete the host. So after that, we must go back to our instance and choose the three instances that we create. First, we must stop it. After it stops, we must terminate all the instance. That's all. We finish all it. That's all from me. Thank you.